Yo, Ramon, what is up?
Good morning, Mindy Hahn. Good morning, Team Steam. Welcome to another edition of Morning Steam for Wednesday, October 26th. Coming off a night of basketball and hockey, and baseball missed a big opportunity by not being flexible with their schedule. I understand it's the World Series. We got to set the date in advance. We can't just play our games spontaneously like there was a giant pandemic anymore. Just make sure we. But Friday night's a pretty busy night for everybody. A Tuesday night or a Wednesday night would have been nice to have a giant sporting event to watch. Even though there were some good games last night.
Yeah, I mean, I can sometimes get caught up on my TLC shows that I miss over the weekend. But I do usually have my peripherals on, right? So, and then after I was done, I did get to watch some pretty good hockey in there. Got to see Las Vegas, got to see the Kraken, got to see the Ducks. So, there was quite a few good games. Oh, and the Kings, I watched a little bit of that one there too. So there was some good that came out of the night as well. Because we saw what do they call him? Mr. Invincible there for Las Vegas, get what, 990 in a row?
Great record. Great record.
I just think it's crazy that they can do that in hockey. I mean, and then quite a few guys that have done it nonetheless. Just because with the way the puck flies around and injuries that occur. And I thought it was kind of funny, when they were talking to him, they're like, well, were there some days that you wish you weren't playing? He's like, oh yeah, there was a lot of days I wish I wasn't playing. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Phil Kessel, a real Iron Man for the Golden Knights. Great job there. And, we went with the dog in that one, and I don't think there was any part of the handicap in Mr. Kessel's Iron Man streak. But nonetheless, good performance by the Knights. They continue to do well. We didn't get the goals that we were expected, so we've already been instructed to kind of clean it up. I've dropped my pen here, Mindy. But that's. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Where's my pen? Nonetheless, we got to clean it up from our big hockey card yesterday, and didn't quite go our way. We'll go over to Tony'sPicks.com, see who did do well yesterday. Basketball also 4-game card. We saw the fireworks between Golden State and Phoenix. Phoenix ended up crushing Golden State, just putting me to shame in that one. Maybe I'm just reading too much into Phoenix's whole social situation and all that. Just to stick to the game on the court. Maybe that's the best way moving forward, especially when you have a guy like Devin Booker. Pretty professional dude getting it done there in that one-sided game. Clippers issues moving forward. Kawhi Leonard having knee problems already. We already saw his, part-time player, and now doesn't look good for him moving forward. We'll see what happens there. We did pick up a winner last night on Dallas and New Orleans over.
Nice. Yeah, so I had a pretty good card, I thought, yesterday for the most part. I wound up splitting, but I had the Pelicans, so had a pretty easy one there with that. And then I can't find my notes, so I can't really kind of remember what else I had right now. But just missed out on, like, say, the Canadians for hockey. They score that, open net goal with like 30 seconds. So that one kind of put me down a little bit too. But overall, pretty good day. I had the under with the Sharks. I was on same side as you, Ramon, with Detroit. They just got it handed to them yesterday there as well. And then trying to think who else I had. I probably have it here somewhere, but a pretty good day, but wound up splitting, but was real happy with some of the basketball play, especially with the free picks that we gave out for basketball.
Yeah, I was mentioning Dallas, New Orleans over was a winner for us there. So, head on over to Tony'sPicks.com. Use the promo code TonyT at checkout. Check out our handicapper leaderboards and see who's hot. Paul and Nick combined 6-0-1 yesterday, continue to crush it. They're red hot right now. Tiffany has been hot as well. She goes 5-2 yesterday to improve her 30-day mark to plus 1,700 units. And the GM also clocking in with a 2-0 day to go 19-10 now over the last 7 days for plus 800 units. And good to see Collins sweeping his 2 games as well. You can get all of our picks over at tonyspicks.com. Go to the All Cappers tab and get signed up. And here you see Nick with a best bet already loaded today. Paul also with a best bet. Champions League today. 8 more games in the Champions League. Mindy, you're up there with your best bet in hoops.
That's right. I'm currently just in the NBA. I liked a couple of hockey games. The Lions kind of got away with me. Wound up being huge favorites after it opened. So kind of missed out on getting those in. So nothing in hockey right now, only in National Basketball Association. So yeah, also put up a 5-pack today for NBA.
Okay, well, we can check those out certainly, and you can always get our $15 introductory and discount picks over there. And of course, check it out. There's Mindy's 5-pack in the NBA. It's a huge NBA card today of 10 games, so she's got half the card tabbed for her premium selections. Just a 3-game card in the NHL. So we'll preview those 13 games and then get into a few extra games in college football. We'll resume our coverage of the college football card, starting with the games that go off at 2 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific. Mindy, you'll have to help me out on my time zones today. I'm a little,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm all timed out, I guess. But,
Right.
I'm going to cover a lot of games today, probably like, I'll just throw it out there, 16, 17 games or so. Get your pens, pencils, and rotations ready. So you can click on the All Cappers tab and get signed up. Don't forget, if you miss our consensus plays here on the show, you can subscribe to them over at tonyspicks.com. Just click on, there we are, the Morning Steam.
The Morning
team.
Steam. There we are.
Yep, and still producing despite our subpar day yesterday, up 200 units over the last 7 days and 700 over the last 30 days. So we'll get it better. We'll get it right today. We'll get into the card and see what we got with this basketball, hockey, and more football action as we start to head into the football weekend tomorrow. And then I think next week, Mindy, once we get rolling here, it's football for like 27 straight days or something like that, because they start playing those
Right.
Tuesday night specials that everybody loves. So we'll have, at least we'll have football every day to talk about.
Exactly.
All right, everybody. Thanks. We'll let people get in the chat here before we fire it up with the rapid fire free picks for Wednesday and get into it with the NBA. Start with the top of the order here with the Magic and the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers are favored in this one. Make sure that's good to go. 8.5, 218, 215.5. Wow. Okay.
Oh,
Big
geez.
drop here.
Yeah, because I think that was about 219 when I looked at this, last night. Cleveland looking for its 3rd straight in a row here. They're 8-1 in their last 9 games following a win. But I'm going to take a look here at the total. I actually like the over in this one, over 6-1 in the Cavs last 7 following the ATS win. Over 5-1-1 last 7 versus a team with a winning percentage below 500. And then, if you take a look at the Cavs, they're 9th in scoring, 1st in 3-point percentage, 1st in free throw percentage. I think they could put up a lot of points here, so I'm going to hit the over today, Ramon.
This is a massive drop that reeks of sharp movement. I've even updated even further. I'm looking at a major offshore book reporting a 214 right now. So getting massive value here off of an opener that was as high as 219. And quite frankly, I kind of agree with you. The problem is that 3 of the last 14 meetings in the series have gone under. We know Orlando's off to a crummy start. 0-4, of course, so far, but they have covered 7 out of the last 8 meetings here, so I think they might be able to stay competitive here with Cleveland. But boy, that just is such a sharp line move. My figures say go over in this one as well. I'm usually so intimidated by these type of line moves. It usually will sway me, but I think I'm convinced uh, with you, Mindy, to still stick with my figures as well and go over in the Orlando Cleveland game. Um, it's extremely sharp, no doubt about it. I mean, that's a 5-point move, and it's all
Nice.
happened within the last hour or two
Yeah.
off that opening number that you said as well. So let's go over. Let's stick to our guns.
All
And
right.
again, this is a pretty strong under series, but Orlando has not been able to stop teams really too well so far. Cleveland, maybe they can get this win. You see the number there, 8.5. Pretty big number to cover. Unsure there right now. We'll go over. All right, consensus play.
Consensus play.
The Hawks are at the Pistons. The Hawks here are 7.5-point favorite, open as low as 5.5, and this total now is up to 231. Another pretty sharp move here off of an opener of 228.
Yeah, hey, I like the Hawks here, Ramon. They're 4-1 against the spread the last 5 versus a team with a losing record. Pistons, they're kind of on a bad losing skid here. Also the Hawks have a better field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and just commit a lot less turnovers. I think that's what's kind of been going on with the Pistons thus far. A lot of turnovers, not a lot of rebounding, kind of like the Hawks in this position.
Yeah, Detroit, they've lost all 3 at home so far, right? So Atlanta 2-6 against the number here, the last 8 meetings at Detroit, and 0-4 against the number at Detroit. I think the number's gotten a little bit too high, but I also think this total is getting up there a little bit too high as well. I'm going to go under with Atlanta and Detroit as my free play on the show here. Mindy says go ahead and lay 7.5 points on the road with Atlanta. The Charlotte and the New York Knicks, and the Knicks here are a pretty big favorite, 8-point favorite. This total now is down to 225.
Yeah, Hornets here. They're 2-0 on the road this season. 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 games. Hornets are also 7-3 against the spread in the last 10. I know that the Hornets are a little dinged up, but they seem to kind of still be getting it done. I'll take the Hornets here at the +8.
Yeah, Knicks are 3-0 against the number. How about that? We know Charlotte's look good. When you win those road games, that's always impressive to me. They've won them both on the road so far. Charlotte 7-3 against the number of the last 10 meetings between these two, and the series long term 27-20, 7-1 to the over. If I can make myself clear like that. 20 of the last 28 games have gone over. But I think for me, I like this one under. I really do. I'm not sure that that the Knicks are going to be able to put up a big enough number here in this one to get that one to go over. And I'm going to go under 225. I said it moved down, but it's kind of been all over the place this morning. Opened around 224.5 up to 226.5, and now that 225. Not really. Maybe it's just settling there. I'm going to go under in Charlotte and the Knicks, bucking that long-term trend between these two teams. All right. Brooklyn and Milwaukee. Milwaukee here, 3.5-point favorite. The total 233.
Yeah, I mean, I kept on wanting to try to find some way that the Nets could win this game, but I just couldn't really. They just can't stop Giannis. He averages 28 points a game normally, but has been averaging 32 against the Nets. They just been having a lot of a really hard time just ever stopping the guy. And then this year he's averaging even more. He's up to about 35 points a game here. They couldn't stop Zion, so I'm not sure how they're going to stop him. Nets are 2-5 against the spread in the last 7 in Milwaukee, 1-5 against the spread overall. I'm going to take the Bucks here.
Yeah, the slight spot lean to me is for Brooklyn, but I just see it that way too. I mean, Brooklyn's got so many things they can't figure out right now. Milwaukee, until further notice, I mean, they covered the first two, looked pretty impressive, and long term, they've covered like 70% of the last uh, oh, 50 some odd meetings over the last several years, half a decade practically, if not longer. So it's just been a long term, and that's kind of like the Giannis era, right?
Right.
And a lot of it to do with the recent Brooklyn situation as well. The series has gone 2-10-1 to the under of late, including one of the last seven only going over. But Milwaukee might hang a number on them tonight. Look out! Let's take Milwaukee against Brooklyn here in this one. Milwaukee to blow out the Nets at 3.5. That looks pretty good. There were some fours out there earlier, so Nets are. I don't know. Then Nets might still get public respect, I guess.
Yeah, right.
All right, the Sixers and the Raptors, another team. Well, I won't. I don't know if I can throw them in the cat. Well, maybe they are. Maybe they're a shadow of Brooklyn at this point. I mean, they've got some issues to figure out as well. And here they're a 1 point favorite on the road against the Raptors. So obviously, the Raptors aren't Milwaukee. Maybe that's a difference as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's true here. But I'm still going to take a look at the Raptors. They're 15-6 against the spread versus the 76ers at home over their last 21 games. Also 3-1 against the spread at home. The Raptors are fifth in 3-point percentage right now, second in turnovers. I think this one should be a good game, but to me, the 76ers look a little sloppy yet. So I'm going to trust the Raptors a little bit more here in this spot until the 76ers can get it going again.
Until we see more, right? I mean, Phil, you mentioned the teams with the opposite spread records at this point. Now Philly's got to go on the road to a place that they really just don't fare very well. Yeah, Toronto's had some stronger teams in the past, but Philadelphia is a mess at this point. So until Rivers can figure out, what he's doing, right? I mean, right now they're just not in a good situation. Everybody's forgetting about the Sixers at this point with the Eagles and the Phillies going crazy. That's not part of the handicap, but still, I like Toronto in this one. I think we can take them here against Philly. Philly might not be able to, stop them enough possessions, I would think. So, thanks a lot for Ron's nice comments. Cheers us up a little bit for our little bit of subpar action here on the show. But no doubt, we definitely were able to come through with a couple of good spots, and feels pretty good so far today too, with another consensus play giving us three with a couple of home teams in the Eastern Conference. So
that's right.
See how that goes. All right. Spurs and Timberwolves, a couple teams I've kind of whiffed on of late, so maybe Mindy can set me straight here. Minnesota 9-point favorite, total 232. The Spurs right now looks like they're headed to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, so Timberwolves here, they're 3-1 against the spread versus those Spurs at home. The Spurs here, they're also 2-7 against the spread in their last 9. Minus that last game, which was won by the Spurs there. I just think in this one, Rudy does nothing but rebound. I like the Timberwolves here.
Okay,
-9.
Fair enough. I mean, maybe time is up for the Spurs and their little surge here on the road, right? Going up against Minnesota here, a situation that has not been very good to San Antonio, in their trips here. Yes, San Antonio has looked strong so far with that impressive road mark. I lean towards Minnesota as well in this one. I think they might be able to get the double digits. Just worries me that Pop might have something going on right now with a little bit of success, and all they need is a team, with him a little bit of confidence to cover a big number like this. So I'm going to go under the 231 in this one. I've kind of been touting these teams as kind of over teams and kind of getting burned a little bit. So they really have just had it wrong because they played, both,
Pretty good ball. Yeah.
yeah, overs and unders so far. I've just been not clicking on it. So in this one, I think the familiarity of Minnesota to slow them a little bit. And again, I'm not sure on the side, but I'm going to go under in San Antonio, Minnesota. And Mindy says lay mini with the 9 points. How about that? A little bit of play on words there. All right. The Pacers at the Bulls. We stick in the Eastern Conference again. The Bulls here favored by 7, opened as high as 9, and the total is 232.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at the under. Head to head, the under's 4-1 the last 5 meetings here. Under's 4-1 in the Bulls' last 4 following an ATS win. In this series, it's 7-2 last 9 overall. Bulls here, they're 22nd in points scored, 25th and 26th. These two teams are in field goal percentage, 23rd and 20th in 3-point percentage. And each of these teams give up a lot of turnovers here. I think this one is going to be a little messy. I like the under 232.
Yeah, I did too. Like you said, these teams have gone under the last few matchups when they've faced off. So I think that's something that I can get behind. I mean, Indiana right now definitely struggling a bit with their 1-3 straight up and spread record, and of course Chicago in this series. It's been pretty good for them. I agree maybe with what Butterscotch is saying there. The situation kind of sets up for me for Indiana. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get on Chicago today laying those points. The move is already to Indiana, so I'd probably be leaning that way. But I do like the under, Mindy. Let's go ahead and make that a consensus play here with Indiana and Chicago to go under in this one. Big number. And again, we talked about, some of these over-unders. Yes, some of these numbers are high today. There have been lots of unders so far. We'll see how that holds up because we're going to come up with another big one right here. Right now.
Right.
What you say here? With Houston and Utah up to a 7-point favorite here in the total. I'm showing now 235.
Oh my.
God, yeah.
And I was going to look at the under already here on this one. I mean, I think it's going to be fun, right? Is the Jazz going to get their revenge from getting, their undefeated mark ticked off? But the under, it's 9-4 in the last 13 in Utah. It's also 10-4 in the last 14 meetings overall. The under is 4-1 to the Rockets following a straight up win, and under for the Jazz following an ATS loss. I kind of like the under spot in this one. I think, especially once it's been driven up this high.
Yeah, it seems crazy, doesn't it? I mean, with these two teams in this spot, I mean, look, the action's sharp on the over. Let's face it. I mean,
Right.
I don't know if everybody is rushing to the window. Maybe it's going to be the highest scoring night of the season. That's what the indication would be here, right?
Right.
Far. So, results have been mixed with the totals. I'm not saying that it's been a steady slew of unders. I mean, it's been relatively even so far. But it is interesting that Utah has that 3-1 straight up record, looking good so far, and Houston just 1-3 straight up. But both teams 3-1 against the numbers. So, but I like what you said about the series history, especially 10 of the last 14. Houston's done pretty well in Utah. I'm not going to count them out in this game necessarily, even though they're 0-2 straight up so far on the road, but they've covered 5 of the last 6 in Utah. Let's take the under.
All right.
Number 2. Yeah, 235. Pretty big number, especially, and I'm showing that. I mean, it just showed the move. I'm looking at a book. If anybody wants to say it's 234, that's fine. But I'm looking at one of the top books in the world. The total's gone up. I got an odd screen over here. Most of them are at 235 right now. So
I mean, not everyone can have 4 lines up on their desktop.
Well, I mean, we're Look, one thing that I always do is sometimes when I give out, like, as I always pick the worst of the line, figuring that a viewer cannot get always the best of the line.
Right. I
If I'm
understand.
doing
Yeah.
like my free plays and stuff on video or something like that. Now, a lot of times we're just subjected to whatever we can get. For example, on entering our premium plays, but there we go with another one. We go to the late games out west in Miami and red hot Portland. Oops, let me fix that little typo there. It is 220.5 though, with the Heat now favored by 2. The move is on the Heat against the red hot Blazers, and the Heat's been kind of,
Eh,
that's been terrible against the number.
yeah. So that's why I was going to take a
We
look at
haven't
that
been on the
one.
road yet.
I was going to take a look at the under here again. Unders 5-1 in the Heat's last six, playing on one day of rest. 6-0 in the Trailblazers' last six games, also on a day's rest. As well as the under to the Trailblazers' last nine overall. Unders 5-1 the last six Wednesday games. I just look at a whole bunch of under here in this game too.
Well, the Sharps are obviously on Miami here. I'm not sure I can get with that. I mean, they've driven this up to a -2 here on the road against Portland. Miami's 0-4 against the spread. All those games were at home. Now they've got to travel all the way up to the Northwest in this game against a red hot Portland team that's won every game so far. I get it. Maybe time is up for the Blazers. They're going up against a team that's one of the better teams, in the Eastern Conference. A good, very good team that certainly can, put things together and be a contender in the East. But Portland's hot. What's wrong with them right now? Maybe their
Yeah,
schedule's been a little weaker. I get that. They're at home. I want to take Portland here as
I
my
like it.
free pick against Miami. Yeah, I'm sorry to my buddies the Sharps, but I
Right?
can't do it right now. I mean, uh, 4-0 ATS against 0-4 ATS. That means one team is playing above expectations and the other is playing below expectations. Those should reverse. So, trends are meant to, go back to
Swim,
the means or whatever. But
right?
basically, a pick 'em game here. I'm getting 2 points. All right. Oh boy.
Here we
Uh,
go, Ramon.
is that a typo? I mean, the Nuggets are only a 5.5 point favorite right now against the Lakers. Uh, just it's got to be wrong, but I guess it's not. They're
Yeah.
still favored. I mean, Nuggets are they've got to cover a number against the 0-3 Lakers.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I was gonna. Um, I I kind of struggled with this one, right? Nuggets are 2-2, like you said. Lakers, as we all know, they're 0-3 here. But I just think it's a nice spot for the Lakers to finally kind of maybe hit a little bit of stride here today, maybe get it figured out. Nuggets are 0-4 in their last four games versus a team with a losing record. 0-5 at home versus a team with a losing record. And the Lakers are actually 5-2 against the spread in the last seven home games versus a team with a winning record. I just think it's a nice spot for the Lakers. I'll take them at the plus points
Okay,
today.
okay, I get all that. I just have so major concerns. I think the Lakers
100%.
are one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, maybe I'm
I don't
overreacting,
disagree.
overreaction Wednesday here, but they have no bench, they have no outside shooting. They're going up against one of the best teams in the Western Conference that are hungry to reverse their mediocre start so far. So I'm going to have to go with. I like the Nuggets here, but my free play actually is going to be on the over 16 the last 21. I don't want to tip my hand what's going on here a little bit, but
You already did.
Lakers, I think I'm probably going to go against you. But
Yes,
nonetheless, for
I
me,
got
I'll
it.
over as my free play, especially at that 229 right now. It's going up pretty high, and I can't necessarily recommend the total as a premium here on the basis of that move. But I think the Nuggets will be putting up a big number tonight. Hopefully, the Lakers can keep up. Like I said, 16 of the last 21 meetings at Denver have gone over. It's usually when they're in LA, it goes under because it's
Yeah.
actually more of an under series long term and only at Denver. Uh, So, yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, what are they going to do? Is LeBron going to play? Because the Lakers can't. They don't have anybody on the bench to, I would say, to help that. But I don't want to discourage Mindy's play here as well. I'll go under. I mean, over the 229. Over
Over.
229. Mindy is on the Lakers. Okay, Lakers. Can they turn it around, man? What
I think he doesn't
storylines
get
we
very
have
much
so
more.
far in the NBA? Big time storylines so far with some hot teams and some cold teams for sure. All right, speaking of cold, let's go over the ice
The
and take a
ice.
look at a 3-game card, including a matchup between the Rangers and the Isles. In this one, Shesterkin, we'll see. I'll load up the goalies. Well, maybe you start to break this one down, and I'll see if I don't think anything was confirmed. But
Yeah, I
battle.
mean, Shesterkin had a pretty decent, day yesterday. That was also a real good one. Got to watch, some of that one there as well as the Avalanche there beats them right at the end. But yeah, Rangers, they're 3-2-1. As we know, they've lost, a couple here straight. Lost last night, then to Columbus, then San Jose. Islanders 2-4. They lost 3 straight now with the last one there to Florida. I'm going to take a look at the under. Under's 9-2 in the Rangers' last 11 overall. Under's 10-2 in the last 12 between these two. So yeah, I'm going to look at the under here, Ramon.
Yeah, I think that's something I could probably get behind after last night for sure. Igor, I hope we'll see if Igor's in there. I would expect right now that's what we're seeing is kind of the probables, but he's hot. Sorokin's not. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Sorokin's broken, but he's 1-3 so far in his 4 starts. So that does kind of trouble me. But yeah, you mentioned the series 10-12, 10-2 the under last 12, and the Rangers definitely an under so far. And wish it was 6.5, but it's not. It's definitely about 6 flat. Let me put it up there on the screen. I've corrected it there. I think I had it shaded to the under now. It may be moving towards the over, but I don't know if it'll go. It won't go to 6.5. That's for sure. But let's take the under in this one with the Rangers and the Isles. Uh, Rangers. Yeah, in fact, maybe it's going to be Halak. I don't know if that would change your opinion at all, Mindy. Halak could be in there, but it's not confirmed yet. I'm showing some of the sites showing Halak for the Rangers. So, anyways, the under's fine by me. Maybe that's why we've seen a tick to the over. But you okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
All right. And again, some of the sites still showing Shesterkin, but a few of them have updated to show that Halak could be in goal. So keep an eye on that, everybody. We're moving forward. All right. Edmonton now, I think it's going to be Campbell and Bennington here in this one. And right now I'm showing Edmonton, road favorite here, 6.5 over 30.
Yeah, they were favorite there last time too, huh? The Oilers beat Pittsburgh in their last game 6-3. Blues lost to Winnipeg 0-4. Blues have only scored 11 goals this season. I know that they're maybe a couple games behind the rest of the NHL too with getting that late, start. But that does rank them, 32nd in the league. But their defense still playing well, giving up only 9 goals. That actually puts them then in first, right? The Blues are maybe a little bit struggling to score. I like them though. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the under 6.5 in this one.
Oh, okay. I'm going to end up with a play here on St. Louis. I just think Bennington looking good, 3-0 so far with that 1.65 goals against average, and St. Louis dominates this series at home, winning 19 out of the last 23. This is Edmonton's first road game of the season. Look, they're getting respected action, no doubt about it. You figure the way things are going. Edmonton's looked decent. St. Louis has looked pretty good too with Bennington in there. So interesting to see Edmonton go on the road for that first road game and be a slight favorite here. I'll take St. Louis, and Mindy is going to be on the under in Edmonton and St. Louis. And finally, looks like a back-to-backer here for Tampa Bay. And boy, it's down to 135, and that's probably because probably Brian Elliott. I would think. Let's just call it like it is. I think with this, given this line move, Mindy, I think it's going to be Elliott in goal. I'm showing him down to a $1.35 now, off of as high as 165 on the overnight. So
Yeah, because I know when it first went off, I saw it like minus 155, and then I looked, later in the day, and then it looked like it was like minus 170 there, in that one. And it was kind of one of those, like, I wasn't sure if I was going to take it at 170, but I liked the 155. In the last game, that the Lightning beat the Islanders 5-3. Ducks lost their fifth straight to Detroit. Ducks averaging, giving up about 5 goals a game thus far. I like, I like the over here in this play. Ultimately, the over's 4-0 in the last 4 meetings between these two teams. So, I think I'm going to go ahead and take the over, since we had a little bit of change there in goal.
yeah, well, I was kind of liking the over anyways because I think Tampa Bay, they looked pretty good last night, obviously against Kings, and yeah, right now with the series going, look, maybe Tampa's a little bit. I don't know. They're off to a 500 start so far, right? But or 2-3 on the road, 2-3 on the road, I guess. But Anaheim 1-4. Now they did win their home game, so maybe they're going to have to contribute a little bit. But I'm willing to try another over tonight, Mindy, in this one, and give us a second consensus play on the ice. We've got the Rangers and the Islanders under, and we've got Tampa Bay and Anaheim over.
Over 6.5. All right, cool.
Okay. All right, that's today's action in the NBA and NHL. So we're going to continue on with our coverage now of college football for this weekend, where we left off with the last show. So if you want to cover the Thursday games, the Friday games, and the early games from Saturday, we've already previewed those, and they're up on the Tony's Picks YouTube channel, or I guess in podcast form, chopped up probably a little bit as well. You can type into YouTube the two team names and the words Morning Steam, and we'll pop right up there at the top. If you have any want to see any of those previews from the first games, we're going to continue on, Mindy, at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Pacific time. Up a little bit. Then I get the times right. At the very beginning, that's where I don't want to, I don't want to say anything about my brain, because people might get offended about being old and losing your mind and all
I just
that.
think it gets like information overload. Then I feel like I can't just remember, anything. Ramon has to text me quarterback names that I can't remember. So I appreciate that. Thanks, Ramon.
We're gonna continue on. It's gonna be about 16 or 17 games, if I'm not mistaken. We're going all the way through the 7 o'clock East, 4 o'clock Eastern one, 3 o'clock Central, 1 Pacific,
6 Central.
Yeah.
Oh no, 3 Central. Yeah. Now I'm gonna mess you up.
Yeah. No, we're not going that far.
3 Central.
3-hour gap basically between those starts. We're gonna go through the games right now and start at the with. It's going to be Charlotte and Rice.
Yeah, I mean, geez. Charlotte 1-7 this year, coming off a 4-game losing streak.
Oh.
Well, Rice, not too bad this season. 4-3, won their last game there against La Tech in a high-scoring one, 42-41. Charlotte's defense, I don't know, maybe a little bit horrible, giving up 43 points a game. My buddy Luke McCaffrey's there, Husker quarterback, catching passes now. Rice is 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 home games. I think Rice is going to cover the spread here, minus 16.5.
They should smash them. I mean, come on. Charlotte's, that 2-6 against the spread with that 1-7 record you mentioned. Rice is, gone over in 6 of 7 combined. The teams are 11-4 to the over, but the total still looks a little bit high to me. I'm kind of worried about that here in this one. So I think for me, I'm going to end up going under in this one with Charlotte and Rice. Look, these teams have been monster over so far, but I don't have it getting up to 59.5, though. I mean, you see the drop. That's what really, it's a market move for me here. I mean, this swing opened as high as 64, and I wanted to go under. I thought, oh, I'm going to be Mr. Wise Guy here. Everyone's going to want to go over in this one. They may still might because of the total now at 59.5 with these monster over teams, but making a market call here, and I'm going under 59.5 with Charlotte and Rice. I'm bucking that trend a little bit. Mindy says take Rice and lay 16.5 because Charlotte's been downright awful. Rutgers and Minnesota as we head to Big Ten country. And Minnesota here is a bit of a runaway favorite. They're up now to 14, opened as low as 10. The total now at 40.5, opened as low as 37.5 at some spots. So we know it's going to be ugly, but the total's been going up.
But how ugly, right? I mean, I keep on trying to like Minnesota. I think they're a good team. I know that they can put up points. I know they've had some, volatility in their lineup, but Rutgers, they beat Indiana last time out, 24-17, had a really nice game. Came from behind in that one. Minnesota dropped their third straight versus Penn State. Really took it to them there, 45-17. They have been struggling to score in their last three, just averaging like 13 points of offense for a Minnesota team that usually, runs up the score. I'm going to take Rutgers here. They're 3-0-1 against the spread their last 4 October games. I like them in this spot, getting a plus 14.
Well, that might be the way to go. I mean, Minnesota, they're still 5-1 against the spread their last 6 at home. And Rutgers 6-1 against the spread their last 7 against teams above 500. And Minnesota crushed them when they met 3 years ago. But that spread's just getting too high for me. I don't think I'd want to get involved with Minnesota, but I'm not sure Rutgers is going to score very many points either. So I think at this increased price of 40.5, I thought 37.5 was actually pretty reasonable total. And, I guess nobody's really ever going to let that hang. I guess the Sharps are just going to come in and hit it to the over. But I'm going to go under in Rutgers in Minnesota as my free pick. I think it's going to be, you mentioned the struggles that Minnesota's had because, the core Morgan's been questionable, certainly off and on with his injury woes. And, they've been steady running the ball. Obviously, a run-heavy team right now with their great back. So I'm going to go under 40.5, and Mindy's going to lay 14 points with the Gophers.
No, I'm taking Rutgers.
Yes, let's say it again so that we make sure, because Mindy is going to take those 14 points with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
Yeah, go Scarlet Knights.
Talking all that garbage about Minnesota. I would probably take
I keep on trying to like Minnesota. I've bet on them quite a few times this year, and then, I think I'm 1-2 with them. So, it's one of those that kind of struggle with where they're going to be at each game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I peeled out a lot of numbers that favor, Minnesota there, but they're having such, those offensive woes that you mentioned. So the spread's kind of gotten away from a little bit. Again, that look ahead line of 10. I mean, it generally opened 13.5, but watch out. I'd say take Mindy's advice here. It might go up still a little bit. So caution there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Old Dominion and Georgia State, because they make us preview every game. And Georgia State here is favored by 3.5, total 54.5.
Are you saying this is not your favorite
Not
game?
Both teams are 2-5. 2-5 in a small conference, but money to be made out there possibly.
Yeah, I mean, the defenses here just aren't good, right? So I don't know. I think it's just going to go over. Over is 13-5 in Georgia State last 18 games following a straight up loss. I don't expect like probably any defense in this game, like at all. So I'll take the over.
Yeah, well, Old Dominion 5-1 against the spread off of a spread victory. We know Georgia State, man, just 2-5 straight up and against the spread so far. That's bad. The total though, Mindy, opened as high as 59.5, and now it's down to 54.5. Gives you great value on your move to the over. But I'm going to take the market move, and I say right now you got to put a stop to this and go under. We're going to disagree here. I want to go under. I don't like going under this number now that has dropped so significantly when I could have had at least 57, if not the opener at 59.5. So Mindy and I have a disagreement here. I know what you're saying. I mean, these teams have been big time overs, but ODU 1-4 to the under last 5 in conference. So, all right,
Mindy and Ramon challenge.
we've come to that time, and could this be
We
the
got
spot, Mindy? Could this be the spot? Because look, Illinois, they could run the table from here and play Ohio State in the championship game and upset them somehow and find themselves with a one-loss record, wondering if they could be a team to get in the Final Four.
versus the
That would take a
Ohio
huge.
State.
Yeah, I mean that. I'm not saying they're going to go out and beat Ohio State in the championship game. I'm just saying
I know.
their schedule is good moving forward. They're obviously having a great season, but it's a tough spot, believe it or not.
Yeah. Illinois 6-1 after defeating Minnesota there in the last game, 26-14, had a whopping 472 yards of total offense, 27 first downs. Really took it to them there. Nebraska dropped to 3-4 with a loss at Purdue, 43-37. In that loss, Nebraska's defense again gave up, I don't know, a staggering, may you say, 608 yards of offense and 38 first downs. Nebraska's allowed 43 points in each of their last 5 also. Oh, I hate reading these stats. But I'm going to look to the over. Over's 3-0-1 last 4 meetings between these two teams here, Ramon. I don't want to pick a side in this one.
No, I'll agree with you. I mean, look, I'm telling you, I think this is the spot for Nebraska. But I mean, it's hard to, pull the trigger on a free play on a bet. When you're talking about Nebraska, to me, the spot reeks of Nebraska. I think the sharps are going to be on Nebraska here. The spread's gone up. No doubt about it. The money's come
Right.
in on Illinois and opened as low as 5 as a look ahead, but it's been pretty much 7. You're going to have to lay a touchdown.
Yeah, and as you get
here.
closer to the weekend, Nebraska fans will bet Nebraska no matter what, and so that will bring that bring that line back down. It always happens.
Yeah, well, my number is about 56 here, so that's good enough for me to hop on board and make
Yeah,
it
it gives me something to root for, Ramon.
play.
Good.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Love
our
the
first.
place.
That's our first so far, right?
Yeah.
Consensus play here on the over, Illinois and Nebraska. Sharps are
I don't,
leaning under.
'cause I don't know how much I'll get to root in this game, so we'll see. I'm hoping for good things for Nebraska. We'll see.
No, I'm telling you, this could be.
Because then they got
It's,
Minnesota.
look, I'll just tell you right now. I mean, for me, it's a borderline premium. It's either gonna, maybe if I could just get, maybe if the money still comes in, because Illinois is the ranked team, they might still take money. I show it 7.5 there on screen. I think it's more like 7
Yeah.
right now. Let me see. Most of the books are saying have no. It's pretty much 7.5. So that's pretty good to get that hook right there.
Here.
I think this is the spot for Nebraska. But on our free play right now, we're going over.
Go
50.
Huskers.
Going over 50. All right, I complained about that last game, the other game, but look at this one's pretty bad. New Mexico State and Massachusetts. This one's probably even worse than the ODU game, right?
This is
These
like the
teams
double
are combined
OMG. Oh,
3 and
yeah.
12 straight up, Mindy. But New Mexico State's on the road. The road team, New Mexico State, in a bizarre matchup, but they're favored on the road.
I mean, these two teams are just struggling, to say the least. New Mexico State won its last one. 21-9 versus New Mexico. UMass, lost to Buffalo in that big blowout. UMass's one win is against FCS Stony Brook. I'm going to take New Mexico State here. They score more, they give up less per game. They're 5-1 against the spread versus a team with a losing record here. I'll take New Mexico State. I think they can cover this one.
All right, I'll go against you because I cannot play New Mexico State on the road.
You know them better than I do too, right?
UMass. It should be just an ugly game. UMass has gone under in 4 of their last 5 games, by the way, and the total looks, kind of right on to me. New Mexico State 1-5 against the spread off of a straight-up win. Now you're going to ask this terrible team to go play another terrible team. I'm going to take the terrible team that's at home plus points.
The terrible home team versus the terrible away team. Yes.
Yeah, and buy it up to 3. I don't know if I can say that on the air, but I'll take Massachusetts. Shame on me, but you gotta take some. We gotta take somebody on the show here. Okay, a little bit better action here with Wake Forest and Louisville, and Wake Forest favored on the road. This was down to 3.5, opened as high as 5.5. And the total is 62.
Yeah, when I was looking last night, I had it at 4.5. So there has been some volatility there in the market. Wake Forest, their only loss was to Clemson, by 6. And then coming out that blowout of Boston College, Louisville, they're on that 2-game win streak. Beat Pittsburgh 24-10. Wake Forest, they have that 13th ranked offense in the country, 41 points a game. Louisville, they're 139th in offense, averaging 27 points per game. Again, it's always going to be, big question for who's going to be at quarterback. Is it going to be, Cunningham? He did go out with a concussion. He's kind of most of their offense. I haven't heard anything of late on a status update with him, so maybe you can help me out with that. But Wake Forest, they're 4-0 against the spread in the last 4, 5-0 in their last 5 in October. I'll take Wake Forest here in this one, and I like, getting a little off of that 4.5 as well. So I'll take a -3.5.
All right, Mindy says take the Demon Deacons, getting a good price here with Wake Forest on the road, laying 3.5 now. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it will. I'm not too worried. See if I can get that injury information for you, Mindy, right now while I preview my end a little bit. Wake Forest has gone under in 4 straight games, but I have this one possibly getting closer to 70 points, I would think. In this one, Wake Forest does seem to play a little bit better on the road. 5 straight meetings between these two teams have gone over. Wake Forest does, straight up 2-0 on the road. We know they're 6-1 against the numbers, so I don't know. I don't want to necessarily lay points with them on the road. That's the part that worries me. And you see the sharp action. I think the sharp action definitely here looks like it's coming in on the Cardinals. But I think it'll be an over contest in this one. I'm not showing. Let me see. Man, boy, I do want to check Cunningham's status for you. Might have to move on. From this one. Still going to be possibly day-to-day. Could be available in this one. All right, we're going to have to move on. Help me out in the chat with that. Appreciate everyone also in the chat today. Great to have you. Great to have the numbers here today as well. All right. Cincinnati and South Florida. I'm still working on that. I'm determined to get the information for you here. I just keep having one slow computer is what where I usually get that information. So I was going to refer to another source possibly here before we move on to the next game. There. All right, here we go. Nope, I just can't do it. Computer issues. I got 5 computers. None of them seem to work. All right, that's cool. Cincinnati and South Florida right now. Cincinnati is now favored in this one on the road by 1. The total 56.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a pretty good one. Cincinnati ranked 20th, 6-1 record. Just came off a beat down of SMU by 2. Well, the 5-2 UCF team lost to East Carolina, 13-34. But if you kind of look at for comparison, UCF played SMU 3 weeks ago, won 41-19. I think Central Florida, they have a little bit better defense. I think head-to-head trend says a lot too. They're 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 meetings. The home team's also 4-0 in their last 4 meetings between these two teams. I'm going to go with that Florida team there, Central Florida. I'll take them +1.
All right, Mindy says take the Golden Knights at home against Cincinnati, and I have to agree with her here. Look, both teams are great. We got a great one here with both teams combined 11-3, but UCF 4-0 against the spread off of a spread loss, and Cincinnati pretty good spot for them. But I like Central Florida here at home. I think Mindy. I think they'll be able to really slow Cincinnati. I like the under as well, but since you're on the Golden Knights, I'm going to be on the Golden Knights. Let's have a consensus play and roll with Central Florida to win this game. We'll take, we'll take them on the money line if you don't mind, even or minus $1.05, whatever it is. Take Central Florida, consensus play. All right. Northwestern and Iowa. Now, I made a joke earlier in the week that I thought this game was really lined a little bit too high, and now I see it's all the way up to 37.5. But I'm going to respect the line move here and say that these teams will find themselves a little bit offensively. That's the only way that I can explain the line move here in this series, because usually you already got two teams that aren't scoring in a series that usually has no scoring.
Right. And each of these teams coming in off of, multiple game, losing streaks here. And scoring is not easy. Like you said, for either team, Northwestern scores 18 a game and Iowa 14. Iowa, are they going to have a quarterback change? We don't know. But I don't know if that's any sort of upgrade there either. It might, doesn't really seem to be. I think Northwestern, they do pretty much come up with, a lot of yards, right? They may not be able to convert them, but they are putting up a lot of yards each game. I think the spread's just too high here for this Iowa team. I'm going to go with Northwestern +11.
All right, and I'm going to use this sharp move. I'm going to say it is going to go over 37.5. I mean, I must be wrong on my analysis in this one, because I really thought, to me, the game grades out much lower. My window is high because of the unpredictability of these bad teams right now, the way I see it. So. But you mentioned, last 5 meetings have gone under, and Iowa's gone under in 4 straight at home. But, when I see a total that's already moving up to 37.5, like I said, 2 teams that don't score a lot, and they don't score a lot when they play each other, yet this total keeps moving higher. I've got to think the market knows better than me. Try to show some humility, especially coming off a losing day, and go with the experts here. I must not be an expert when it comes to this game. So I will go over 37.5. And I don't know. I'm worried about that. Even though it's up to 11, you're getting a great price, Mindy, there. But the move has come in, certainly on Iowa, open 9, now up to 11. So Mindy's no good.
I think Nebraska has a good shot at Iowa this year. So
there's the win, huh?
So that's what it's coming down to, right? I think Nebraska is going to be able to beat Iowa. Nebraska lost to Northwestern, and that's we have to do all of the talk of the town, right?
I wanted to go with Nebraska to pull off the biggest upset of the season, and now you have them in a look-ahead spot, so they'll never go
well,
up
of course, I have to have them in the look-ahead. I think it's funny too that out on our website where we put in at Toadie's Picks, where we put in our plays, that they have the Christmas game out for the NBA, the look-ahead line, so you can get that one there too, Ramon.
That's right. Well, that's just it. again, I don't know. Big Ten's been crazy. Let's hope we keep it going. All right, a pretty big game here for Oregon. They can't afford any slip up, or if they're in a tough spot, man. I mean, this thing keeps going up, and Cal's no joke. I mean, they at home they're pretty dynamite, but you know. Money's coming in on Oregon. They're up to 17. The look ahead was as low as 12. So you're already paying quite a premium here with Oregon, and the total currently sits at 58.
Can we go back to the look ahead? Use the Wayback Machine, maybe. Cal, I don't know what to think about them. They only score 14 points a game. Oregon's been putting up the points too. Especially, I expected them to win versus UCLA, but that was a bunch that they put up against them. And then California lost to Washington, but again, Washington was at home. Cal's playing. I mean, like you said, they're playing pretty good, away there as well. I just don't know if they can keep up offensively with this Oregon team. That's the only thing that just kind of worries me. If Oregon, they are 5-1 against the spread in their last 6. I think they're going to continue to roll here. I think they'll cover. Again, I've seen some bright spots with Cal, but just not fully convinced that they're at the same caliber as Oregon right now.
Okay, well, you can see I can't do it at that
I
at
gotcha.
that spread, and my lean is totally to Cal here. But I will go over the total of 58. I think Cal will be able to uh, do something against Oregon here. Oregon still is 5-2 the over in their last 7 games. Cal's been an under team so far, exactly opposite 2-5 to the under so far. But the series 4-1 here in Berkeley over the last 5 meetings here, and Cal, they do they've covered their last 6 of their last 7 at home. I think they can match a little bit here. I think staying within 2 touchdowns is possible. If that's the case, they're going to have to score some points. I will go over in the Oregon Cal game over 58. Mindy
Oh,
says
good.
lay 17 points with Oregon. All right.
Sounds good.
SMU is at Tulsa, and the move's definitely on Tulsa here. SMU opened as much as a 4-point favorite, and this total is all the way down to 64, open 68 and a half.
Yeah, so we just kind of talked about SMU lost their last one versus Cincinnati in a close 2-point game. Tulsa beat Temple on that Thursday night game. SMU, they're just, ranked 109th in total defense. Tulsa's 90th in total defense. But I'm going to take a look at the underdog in this one. Underdogs 4-3 against the spread the last 17 between these two. I'm going to take Tulsa here and the points.
I'm totally down with that. I mean, I see the move. This is one where I'm with the Sharps. I think in this one, Mindy, these teams combined 4-9-1 against the spread, so I'm not going to trust SMU on the road. Tulsa's covered those last 5 meetings, as you said, and usually when these two teams get together, it is a low-scoring game. So I think it could go considerably under, and we've already missed a bunch of values. So I'm not sure that I can recommend the under, but that's the way. I mean, to me, I think it'd be just 60 points or so here. It may even end up on my card, even though I'm missing a ton of value. I like it that strong, but I like Tulsa just as much, I think, as I do the total here to win the game. Maybe we can do money line. I don't know. You decide, and maybe on that, let's take a couple of points. Let's take 2.5. Let's buy it up to 3 if you're uncomfortable, even, folks, and let's make sure we cash that money. College football games, you only get 10 or 11 of them a year. Why get stuck with a 2.5 when you can have 3? Sometimes everybody always said, oh, never buy a point or whatever. Well,
I always do. Just saying. I always buy the halves. I don't care. People can say what they want, but I'm going to push way more than I'm going to lose by 0.5 point. I know that statistically via my picks, my records over the years, I'm ahead buying points. Just saying.
and don't forget, folks, most football games are going to land on 3 or a majority, or not a majority, but the most popular landing spots are 3 and 7. Let's just call it like it is. So,
Right.
no matter how you look at it. Okay.
Who's
We were
barking?
clear on that with Tulsa. Okay. Oklahoma State and Kansas State head to Big 12 country. Mindy should have a good handle on this game and a good game. Going to be one of the featured games of the day, and just evidenced by the quality of the teams, the spread itself. Uh, these teams play wild games, Mindy. I think we might even hinted at that earlier in the week. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. So do we know why Martinez went out in that last game versus TCU? I never really followed up on that.
Yeah, I did see that one actually, but I'll research that one for you as you give the
Yeah.
preview here. But
So, yeah, Oklahoma State, they beat up Texas, last one 41-34. Spencer Sanders threw for 391, 2 TDs. Like I said, we knew, Kansas State lost to TCU, but Martinez was pretty much out of that whole game. And because of that, really didn't score much there in the second half. Both of these offenses put up just a ton of, yards, a ton of points. So yeah, it's going to be more like, well, where are we going to be with Kansas State and quarterbacking, right? I don't know. I think Oklahoma State, they're 21-4 against the spread. I think I'm going to go ahead and take Oklahoma State where it sits right now, and I think that's based off of unsure if Martinez is going to play. But I still might take a lean here to Oklahoma State, even if he does.
yeah, bruised knee is the deal right now. Game time decision currently. Will Howard would be the man to come in. He's played quite a bit, certainly. So spot favors Kansas State for sure. And you would think, like I said, Mindy, these teams usually still go over in my mind. I mean, even if it's without Martinez right here, I think Howard has played enough football that he threw 2 touchdowns in the game against TCU. They didn't play too poorly there. TCU, obviously, one of the top 10 teams in the country. So I think it's going to go over. I expect a typical Oklahoma State, Kansas State game here. 12 of the last 16 have gone over, and Oklahoma State's the total over team so far this year, 6-1 to the over. So Mindy's going to take a Oklahoma State, lay that 1 point, and I'm going to take over 56. That total definitely is down because of the injury news. Might indicate that Martinez might not play in this game. Temple and Navy here. Navy, a pretty big favorite against Temple. Navy 13.5, and the total is 40.5.
Yeah, I mean, this one puts a pair of 2-5 teams against each other. Temple lost to Tulsa. We just talked about that one. Navy lost to Houston. I thought Navy would put up a little bit more of a fight there in that game, but didn't. But each of these defenses giving up a lot of points here per game. Navy 26, Temple 25. They come into this. Navy does with the 9th ranked rushing offense in the country. And also the over is 6-1 in Navy's last 7 conference games. These defenses, I think, are going to give up plenty of points here. I'm going to go over 40.5.
Okay, I don't mind that. I don't know. I not Temple could have some real problems here. That's what I'm worried about. I mean, Navy has gone 11-1 against their spread in their last 12 games against sub 500 teams. I think that's a pretty significant number. Temple's done pretty well in the series when playing Navy here on the road. But man, these teams are having a pretty woeful time of it right now. Can Navy get double digits here against Temple? I'm going to take them to do so. I'm going to lay 14 points with 13.5 with Navy at home against Temple. And Mindy says go over 40.5. North Texas and Western Kentucky in this one. And Western Kentucky opened as high as 11, but now they're down to 10. And the total is 68.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think Western Kentucky here can, win and cover in this one. I think the big difference between these two teams is, on the defensive side, Western Kentucky only allows 22, but yet North Texas gives up like 35 points a game. So I'll take Western Kentucky minus the 10 in that one. I like 10 better than 11, that's for sure.
Yeah. Look, this one did open as high as 74.5. It looks like a wild one on paper, certainly,
Just a
but
guess.
yeah, it does. But I think for me, I don't know. It's close. I kind of want to take Western Kentucky with you at 10 now because I want to go under, but man, I really thought the total would come higher. I thought it would, it opened 74.5. I didn't think it would go down actually, but
Yeah.
maybe the market there is telling me something. I'm missing out on this as far as the value is concerned. I mean, that's 6 whole points. So I don't think I can necessarily recommend the under to anyone here. But I think for Western Kentucky, 6-2 against the numbers so far. North Texas has been good in this series, but Western Kentucky's covered 4 straight in conference. North Texas doing a good job covering the number. It's going to be close. I'm going to take Western Kentucky with you for a consensus play. Lay 10 points at home to the Mean Green.
Consensus play.
All right. What's the Florida Georgia line?
Yeah, I don't know. Never heard of that one before.
Yeah. All right. Bad cliche comes out every year. Georgia 22.5. And the total 56.5. The one thing is the Florida Georgia line is not as close as it has been in years past. Still, Georgia laying these big numbers is one of the elite teams in the country. Can they get there?
Yeah, I mean, they keep on laying the 20 plus points almost in every game here. Still undefeated, went to number one. They put up 42 points of offense a game, only give up 9. Florida, I don't know, just struggling to pass the ball. That's just something that we're not really used to. Those Florida teams usually have it together. Right now, they're ranked 174th in the nation. And Georgia, because of that, can just focus on stopping the run. They're not going to beat them through the air here at all. Also, if I take a look at this, I'm going to go ahead, though. Ultimately, I think I see this more as a Georgia playing defense. Not sure if Georgia can cover the whole 22.5. I'm going to look to the under. It's 7-1-1 in Georgia's last 9 overall. I'll take under the 56.5.
Yeah, and 7 of the last 11 meetings have gone under as well. I have this one closer to about 51 points, Mindy. So I'm willing to do a consensus play with you here on this one. Florida, just not sure they can get enough. It's still the SEC. We're not talking about two wild teams here necessarily. So let's go under in this one, 56.5. That seems extremely reasonable. In this one, where a game where we could just see Georgia do the bulk of the scoring and limiting Florida. So under is our consensus play.
Under
Back here. Got another one coming at you from the SEC with Missouri and South Carolina here. South Carolina is favored by 3.5 and the total 46.5.
Ramon, I feel like this was, again, my hardest one to handicap of the whole day. When I was going through these, I was kind of having a hard time finding a lot, about this Missouri team. Even, I see them having greatness all at the same time as having failure. So at which point, which Missouri team is going to show up here? They defeated Vanderbilt 17-14 in the last one. South Carolina beat Texas A&M 30-24, but we know Texas A&M has had, massive struggles this season. But if I take a look at Missouri against the spread, they're 6-2 in their last 8 conference games, 7-5 all-time versus South Carolina, and won 3 straight games in the series. I'm going to take the Missouri team that showed up against Georgia. That's going to come out and beat South Carolina in this one.
Yeah, I'm willing to go with you, I think, on that one, Mindy, considering right now, this total has really been bizarre to me. I think Missouri can actually put up some points here. I know that South Carolina, look, they're 1-7-1 against the spread off of a spread win. They don't play back-to-back games very well. Wish we were getting a few more points here. We've missed out a little bit on some of the values. I think that's why, for me, I'm willing to make it a consensus play here on the show. And I said, getting just 3.5 points. It is more significant in a lower scoring game. This total's down to 46.5. My window goes a lot higher than this, but I'm willing to go with you on Missouri plus 3.5 here against South Carolina. Third straight consensus play here
What? Are
towards
you
the
sure?
towards the end of the show. Okay.
Putting the hammer down on Vegas, Ramon. Here we go.
Well, like I said, we started slow last week on Saturday, and then we picked up steam. Get it?
Yes.
And then so right here we're in the afternoon part of the card. Let's hope that we want to get the whole card right, and that's. No, I can't draw any comparisons with that. I just remember last week, having a rough start, and we ended up, still finishing in the green, but barely. But I mean, after
Well,
really,
yeah, and then last week we only had like 2 11 o'clock games, and this time we're
okay.
loaded early too. But also, it seems like we don't have a whole lot of these really late window games. Like there's maybe 10 or so on the 6 p.m. Central Time till 9:30 or whatever. So I mean, it's not a whole lot of games. So we'll be front heavy. We'll be real excited here come 2:30 here in a couple days.
Well, this one might not have anybody too excited, but it is an interesting game just because Arkansas State's such an interesting team. They're 2-6 straight up, but 6-2 against the spread, and here they are getting 10.5 points at home from South Alabama, who's a pretty decent team.
Yeah, and I've liked South Alabama. I mean, this is probably the most I've, watched here, I would say in a couple years. Basically since, Nebraska played them like 2, 3 years ago, first game of the season. South Alabama, took it to Nebraska. But they struggled to score in the last game. It was a weird score, 6-10 to Troy. Arkansas State lost their third straight to Louisiana. South Alabama, they kind of outgain Arkansas State by 80 yards or 100 yards here on on offense, and only allow about 20 a game. Arkansas State, on the other hand, they give up about 31. I'm going to take South Alabama here at -10. I think they're tough. They're 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 meetings in Arkansas. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take South Alabama.
Well, they'll have to prove it to me. Like I said, I'm not can't join you there just because like I said, Arkansas State, they're might be bad team, but they're covering numbers, and now you're laying an increased price here at 10.5. So I just can't get on board necessarily with that. What I will do is I'll take under 55.5. I'm not sure how South Alabama will get enough points here to cover the spread or help them get over that total. So not disagreeing with you necessarily there, because Arkansas State has shown to be pretty weak this year, but man, they just keep getting numbers. So let me go under there, 55. Mindy says take South Alabama -10.5.
I mean, if you have nothing else to watch at 2:30, you can plug this one in. I'm sure it'll be on like ESPN Plus.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I will.
All right.
All right, let's head on over to our website, tonyspicks.com, where you'll find our premium picks each and every day over at Tony's Picks. Don't forget, if you missed any of our picks here on the Morning Steam, you can go back and watch the shows again. You can call up YouTube. You can find it on any of the podcasting platforms. Listen through the whole show. Take your pen, your paper, write down all of our plays, or not, but they're winning plays, as evidenced right here.
That's right.
By our records showing profit so far since we've been doing the Morning Steam show. And or you could just log on and get a subscription to those premium pick packages, Mindy, not to plug it in that way, but you don't have to do all that work if you miss the show, and it helps us out to keep coming back. You see all the games we've already gone through so far that we have reached a consensus on. Did you want to recap those
Oh, yeah,
today?
that's right. Let's do that. Let's do it. So yeah, we have my favorite game of the card: Illinois, Nebraska over 50. UCF looks like we're going to take them on the money line. Instead, they were just +1, whichever you choose. Tulsa +2.5. I'll probably take the points there, Ramon. Western Kentucky -10. Georgia, Florida line under 56.5. In Missouri, we're taking them +3.5. Sounds like wins, Ramon.
Yep, sounds like 6 plays there, right? Did I get that right?
You got it. 6.
All right, and
Six
so
winners.
again, you'll do us a big favor if you if you want to subscribe to the picks. Head to the All Cappers tab to get signed up. There, you'll find all of the handicapper profiles over there at Tony's Picks, including me and Mindy. You'll have packages today. Mindy already talked about the packages that she has loaded up, including that 5-pack on the big NBA card where she's showing profit this year as well. So take a look at the handicapper leaderboard, see who's hot. Use that promo code TonyT at checkout to save 20% off all premium pick packages. There's our Steam team numbers right now, plus 710 over the last 30 days. So we're clicking, we're doing well. Let's have a good card tonight, Mindy.
That's right.
Appreciate your time. Great job as
It's a good
always.
NBA card. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Let's clean it up from last night. We got chided a little bit, no problem. We'll do that. I mean, that's we weren't happy about it. Maybe
It happens.
I need to be more cheerful, but I mean, we're coming off a rough day, so I was like, hey, I mean, we got to get to work. Been
That's
up
right.
all
All
night.
business, Ramon. We get
Been
him
up all
today.
night, stressing out, trying to make sure we win on this card today. So.
That's
All right. Good job, Mindy. Thank you so much. We'll catch you tomorrow. Don't forget, we got Thursday night college football tomorrow, which we've already previewed. You can catch our previews on the YouTube channel. And also Thursday night football with an interesting game between Tampa Bay and Baltimore. So I'm sure you'll have something to tell on that as well. And we'll do more college football. We'll do a bunch of NFL football. Thursday, we're doing NFL football.
Yes, we're doing NFL football. The first half of the card, noon Central Time games.
All right, I know what's going on. All right. All right, for Mindy Hahn, I'm Ramon Scott. Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.